Hi, my name is Chris Morales, and today I want to ask you guys, have you ever put yourself in the position of a homeless? Or have you ever thought about the struggles they face while being homeless? I myself used to stereotype the homeless. I believe that they were all under the influence of drugs, and that's the life they chose. That was until I saw my dad helping out the homeless and inviting them to eat. This is when I realized that not all homeless chose that life. Today I will be presenting you to be compassionate towards the homeless by helping them in any way possible. I will do this by going in depth with the research I have made and my own personal experiences. In persuading my audience to be compassionate towards the homeless, I will discuss the problems they face, the cause of poor and physical and mental health, and some solutions we can do to help the homeless. First, the obstacles homeless face. According to an article, Getting It Together, Social and Institutional Obstacles to Getting Off the Streets, retrieved June 8, 2020, some obstacles homeless have a hard time dealing with every day would be a shortage of low-income housing, the lack of jobs, and being discriminated against everyone else. As we all may know, if a homeless were to walk into a store or a fast food restaurant and they were to ask if they can apply for the job, the supervisor, whoever was in charge, would immediately deny them because of their physical appearance. Now, the reason why these homeless became homeless were because they either didn't have enough jobs in the city or the housing was just too high and the bills were getting higher and they didn't have enough money to pay for the bills. Now that I have discussed obstacles homeless face, I will discuss the causes of homelessness and finally how we can lend a helping hand. Causes of poor physical and mental health. According to a textbook titled A Roof Over My Head, Homeless Women and the Shelter Industry, published by University Press of Colorado 2016, they say homelessness has a strong connection with poverty in complex and straightforward ways. It has to do with the differential education opportunities given to the rich and poor. This is important because not many people grew up in stable homes, and there has been many kids, especially in my city that I know, that would constantly move from houses to houses because the housing would get too high for their parents to pay. Not only this, but furthermore, in a journal article titled Discrimination and Mental Health Problems Among Homeless Minority Young People, published by Sage Publications, Inc., January 2010, is stated saying homeless adolescents experience higher levels of mental health problems than younger people do. Factors that could have linked to mental health include family conflict, history of physical or sexual abuse, and deviant peer groups. This is important as well because it shows us that it's not only the way that they grew up, but the way that people have treated them along their times while growing up. Their parents can physically and mentally abuse them, and this is really, really bad for a kid to be growing up with. They feel like they're alone and no one is there for them, as well as they around that stage they begin having friend groups that influence them to do wrong things that can cause them to be addicted to it. According to an article titled Social Determinants of Health and Interdisciplinary Approach to the Social Inequality and Well-Being, retrieved June 8, 2020, is stated largely associated with mental health problems. Substance misuse and psychotic disorders influence both the experience and homelessness and likelihood of a successful resettlement. This comes to show that what people say is true, and that it is true that the way that the kids grew up in doesn't have to be a stable home. It can be it can be a unstable home, but depending on what the kid is surrounded with while growing up can influence their decision makings as they grow up, which can cause them to be homeless later on. Having learned the obstacles they face and the causes of the situation they are in, it is imperative we learn how a simple act of gesture of kindness can help these homeless. Lastly, ways to help homeless. In an article, How Any Person on the Street Can Help a Street Person by Chambers, many experts disagree with what he had to say. They believe that because there is not enough money for these funds or for these shelters to be put up, we cannot help the homeless in any way possible. But there was a few things that while reading this article were along posted that I had seen that many people do, and some myself I do. It's offer them a meal. If you see that they're still struggling a little bit, you can give them money as well. You can also help out at a homeless shelter and give them everyday necessities that they will need. You can buy them for them. I mostly offer them a meal and give them a little bit more just because we don't know when was the last time they ate, and they could be hungrier than what we think they are. And I also give them money because I'm not going to be there the next day to be able to help them out, and they may not be helped out the next day, which helps them out by knowing that they have money to go buy something to eat, or knowing that they have money to go buy something they really need, like soap, hand sanitizer, stuff like that. Now, to end my presentation, I would like to use this quote that Conley D in the first article that I mentioned had while I was reading it, that said, "The more we learn about the street homeless, the more we come to see that the popular stereotype of a shiftless bum is an accurate way to describe the majority of individuals who make up this population." Basically, they are stating that although many people believe that the people who grew up homeless or who are homeless are, as what many people believe they are, just drug addicts, like how I stated that I once believed that they were, and that how they chose that life. They are not always like that, and the majority of them didn't choose that life. Therefore, with this being said, I hope I can persuade you guys into lending a helping hand to the homeless. Thank you for listening to me.